Hello. Uh, I'm Tom, and this is the second game in the second game day of the quarterfinals in TeacherChamps. This is the game between Mr. Berryann as white and Dr. Starace as black, and this game had a huge turnaround. So you guys watch and find out what happened. So we have a pretty chill opening. We have e4, e5, knight c3, knight c6, and then f3 by Mr. Berryann. This is a little bit of a unique opening idea. I guess trying to solidify this pawn over here, and yeah, it kind of opens up the king though, so that's why it tends not to be like the most best move, but that's okay. We have f6 by Dr. Starace trying to copy. Then we have b3 by Mr. Berryann trying to develop his bishop onto the queen side this way. We have bishop c5 by Dr. Starace, developing her pieces. Knight g2 by Mr. Berryann. Personally, I would develop the bishop first, because right now it's stuck behind a knight and a pawn, so it's kind of being useless. So if you develop it first and then the knight, then it would be open. We have g5 by Dr. Starace, really going for this, I guess, like attack on the king side, but it's hard to believe it because there's not a lot of pieces out, so Mr. Berryann can quite easily defend, and this just kind of loosens the pawn structure over here. But alright, we have h4 by Mr. Berryann attacking this structure, and then we have h6 by Dr. Starace, which isn't the best because Mr. Berryann can actually take, and then this pawn over here can't take because the rook behind it is free. So this would cause this pawn to take, and now the king looks really open. He's got no pawns around him. This just looks like Mr. Berryann can really start some attack here for real. But we have the knight developing. Oh, whoopsie. We have h5 and then the knight developing. We then have g4 by Mr. Berryann trying to lock up the structure. Then we have knight b4 by Dr. Starace trying to get into the white position. But still, development first. Getting your pieces out here is more important than trying to get your knight in, and Mr. Berryann deals with this the right way. Just plays a3, kicks the knight back, and proceeds with kicking the bishop back also. But the bishop goes forward, and then Mr. Berryann tries to develop his rook here. And then we have b5 by Dr. Starace, which gives up a free pawn. Knight takes b5, and then we have bishop a6. And here Mr. Berryann actually finds the best move. He takes the bishop. We have takes with the knight, and then here Dr. Starace has to take with the bishop. Otherwise, she will be down a piece. We have c5 by Dr. Starace. And then bishop takes a6 by Mr. Berryann. Mr. Berryann is now up a piece. But wait. Dr. Starace does not take the knight as well. Mr. Berryann is right now up 2 pieces. He moves his bishop back. Dr. Starace has one more chance to take the knight, and she doesn't. She instead goes for trying to get her queen active and trying to play this like active fighting chess, because she realizes that if she's going to be down a piece, it's better to fight now than to fight when you have no pieces left, which, you know, I dig the strategy. We have knight f5 by Mr. Berryann, and, okay, yeah, so so we have knight f5 and then queen b6 after the queen was attacked, and then here we have a little bit of a controversy of this game. Mr. Berryann actually played an illegal move. He tried to play the knight here, but you see there's no green dot here for the knight to go over here. But so that's an illegal move. So we kind of had to make a few moves to get back to the real position that happened in the game, and we have knight d5. We have queen c6 by Dr. Starace, trying to get her queen finally to stop getting harassed by all of Mr. Berryann's pieces. We have queen e2 by Mr. Berryann trying to get his queen involved. Next, he's going to try to get his bishop involved and really capitalize on this advantage that he has right now. We have rook to c8, Dr. Starace trying to get her pieces active. We have bishop b5. Mr. Berryann just keeps on harassing that queen. We have a4 by Mr. Berryann, just belligerently going forward. We have knight takes d5, e takes d5, queen takes d5. Dr. Starace gets rid of some of those pieces in and around the queen to maybe stop this continuous attacking. But Mr. Berryann keeps on going after it, c4, but now the queen's trying to get into white's position. This is a little bit dangerous, but not too much yet, because Mr. Berryann can still attack the queen with the bishop. We have queen to f4. The queen remains in white's territory. We have b takes c5 by Mr. Berryann, and then we have rook takes c5 by Dr. Starace to take back the pawn. We have rook to c1 by Mr. Berryann, I guess trying to maneuver his rook. We have castles by black to try to get the other rook active. We have bishop takes d7, taking the free pawn, and then we have rook d8 by Dr. Starace to get that other rook really involved in the game. We have bishop f5 by Mr. Berryann, and then we have a5 by Dr. Starace. And here Mr. Berryann goes for a check. We have king to g7, and then we have d4, attacking the rook. The rook moves back, and then Mr. Berryann takes the pawn, although his bishop is hanging. So here he gives up one of his pieces, but it's not so bad because he still has one more extra piece. So he's playing with... So Mr. Berryann is really playing with fire here, but let's hope he doesn't get burnt. We have rook takes bishop, and then e takes f6. What a turnaround. One move, and the eval bar plummets. Dr. Starace now has a decisive advantage. Dr. Starace just has to move her king, and now Mr. Berryann has no choice but to take the rook to get some value for his queen, because his queen is pinned. It can't move anywhere because it's behind the king. But Mr. Berryann castles here. Oh, this is unfortunate. And now rook takes e2. We have Mr. Berryann in 3 moves going from up 2 pieces to up 1 piece to down a queen for a piece. What? This is a crazy turnaround. We have rook to e1 by Mr. Berryann, and now the computer says there's even a mate in 2 with queen h2 and then king f1 and then queen f2. But Dr. Starace goes for the option that she sees clearly, which is taking the free bishop, and now Mr. Berryann is down a queen for 3 pawns. He's in rough shape here, and black is right next to the king. The king has got to be getting checkmated soon. Mr. Berryann goes for one last attack. He plays check on the king, king to g8, and then we have rook to e1, and now Dr. Starace plays the final blows with queen to g3 check, king to f1, and rook to f2 mate, and that ends the game. An exciting quarterfinal round with Mr. Berryann getting a very strong initial advantage, winning 2 pieces in these moves. Then we had a little bit of a mistake with knight to d5 being played, an illegal move, but we figured it out. And then Dr. Starace just really playing active chess here, not letting Mr. Berryann just roll her over, but she kept on fighting until the end. We have Mr. Berryann calmly playing until this string of 3 moves where he starts really going at it with the pawn. He takes with the pawn, the rook takes the bishop, and then the final blunder where the pawn takes the pawn, checking the king, but he pins his own queen inadvertently and loses it. And then Dr. Starace quickly cleans up and takes home a massive W. And this is a huge turnaround. What a game. But the next game and Dr. Starace gets through to the semifinals of this game, which are going to be on January 17th. I hope to see you there. And thanks for listening and watching. Have a good rest of your day, weekend, holiday break. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy New Year's. Woo! School's out.